Hello everyone, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to an episode of, well, it's just kind of an episode where we just kind of talk about the updates to the channel, okay? Let's start out of the gate right away. One of the first things that we're going to talk about, this does not look like HQ, does it? This looks like something totally different. Well, that's because it is. The Prince Magnum channel has moved to a brand new location. And though I'm still organizing, the work is still being done to Project Spirit. More on that in a second. But this is a brand new location. Pretty much now I've got an area that I can do recording, working on cars, pretty much everything. And the family doesn't have to work their life around me. But beyond that, there was a couple other things kind of going on why we had to relocate. So first things first, let's talk about where I was living. I'd been there for the last 11 years. Holy crap, that's a long time. And in that 11 years, when I first moved in, the rent was $500 a month. Okay, fine. And then it kept going up gradually over time. Where then, just before we left, we were paying a grand total of $700 a month. Okay, that's still not that bad, but many of you have seen how big that apartment is. That's starting to get a little pricey, okay? Well, then they wanted to raise it up to $800 a month, and I said no. At that point, I'd be better off buying a house. Hence, why we're here, okay? This is kind of a rent-to-own deal, and a dear friend of mine, her dad passed away, left her a bunch of property. So it only made sense to, because she doesn't want to keep all that property. There's no sense in her, so it's kind of like, hey, we need a place. You want to take some, let's work something out here. And we've worked out a pretty sweet deal. So it'll take us a little bit, but we're buying the house, okay? So we're buying this house, and it takes a little while to pay it off, but it'll be ours. And that'll cover that problem. So now we no longer have to rent. We're actually going to be buying a house. First year is rent. It's going to be a rent. It's rent-owned. So the first 12 months is all, is pretty much, we're renting it. After that, we're buying every payment we make after that is literally buying the house. So rent-to-own, okay? Now that being said, one of the other things that we got to talk about, is, obviously we're no longer living in Bonne Terre. Bonne Terre will always have a special place. I lived there for 11 years, okay? And it's a nice place. It's a nice town. It's got a lot of potential to grow. And I hate to be the one to say it, but the number one issue that we ran into while in Bonne Terre was, remember again, Princess Starsong, she wants nothing to do with her family, okay? The family that adopted her and raised her. That's her story to tell why. I think you all can kind of get the gist of where this is going. But she wants nothing to do with that family anymore. It's kind of like, breaking those chains, if you will. And, Flame, my stepson, is kind of in the same boat. He's like, I want nothing to do with them. And this was their decision. So as, you know, her other half, you know, stepdad, that sort of thing, of course I'm going to back him. I mean, either way, I mean, I can, you know, I would have done it, you know, went either way. If they said, you know, we're going to go ahead and tolerate this, fine, okay? It's not my responsibility to say, you know, what's right or wrong in that, you know, in that case. It's just that, hey, you know, I got to back what they do. Well, her family can't take a hint, okay? So, you know, at this point, you know, we fought with the police departments. Finally, they did something. And now the prosecutor doesn't want to do anything, you know, doesn't want to do his job. Yeah, Blake Dudley, I'm looking right at you. You're an elected official. And, yeah, this is an election year, okay? So for those of you looking at, don't vote for Blake Dudley. And it's serious enough that I have reported him to the state. Okay, I got some final paperwork to do on that, but I've reported him to the state, and he'll be lucky if he's allowed to practice law after I'm done. And don't worry, Blake, you'll get a special video of your own. You know where I stand on this. You actually represented me in a case over one of my kids. You know where I stand on family. Okay, you know better. All right. So that being said, the family's not safe. We need, and this is one of the other reasons. It wasn't just finances. It was a matter of safety, okay? And so we found a new location, something that we can, you know, make our own, okay, buy it, that sort of thing. And it gives me a place to, you know, to have a shop, which we're actually in the garage. I've got a workbench. Basically, I'm set up, okay? Even got my own work area for the channel, the whole 9 yards. So that brings us to Project Spirit, okay? Project Spirit is, obviously, she's here, okay? We're going to have to do some jockeying around so we can get her inside the garage because I want to be able to work on her through the winter months. So we're working out those details right now as we speak. Has there been work done to Project Spirit? This is part of the bumper bracket. Matter of fact, right there's other pieces. They don't look quite like they did. The work is being done. It's just that I've not bothered to show you because there's really not much to show right just yet. I'm just taking parts off, fixing parts that I can, and parts that I can't. They're going to go to the scrap heap, like this little fender that's right here. That's going to the scrap heap, but it's not going to go right away because we got to get a brand new arc welder, not one from fucking Temu. And I've got to practice welding again. So it just makes sense to use something that we're going to be using, you know, you know, same thickness as the rest of the car, get used to where it needs to be, get my techniques back down at arc welding, and eventually would like to get a MIG welder or maybe even a TIG welder. You know, I've got a garage now. I can fit much more elaborate tools in here, and it's just going to make sense. You know, why don't I just take advantage of that? Okay, so we're kind of looking at the long run. Obviously, we're setting up shop permanent. This is kind of, pretty much I'm looking at the forever home for not just my family, but for the Prince Macklin channel. So this is kind of a big, big move. And, you know, so there hasn't been a whole lot to show because I'm just pulling parts off and cleaning them up like you just seen me doing at the beginning of the video. There's nothing to really show. I mean, there's about 1 million other channels doing the same exact thing. Where you guys are going to be more interested is when the parts are ready to go back on the car. Duh. That's where it really counts. Okay? That's where it really counts. So, yes, the work is happening to Project Spirit. Yes, there's other stuff happening. We have a grand total of 4 project cars now. Project Pearl, which is just kind of, she's a daily driver. That's really all she's meant for. But there's going to be some stuff that I need to show, you know, that I can show you guys along the way using Project Pearl. Project Lena, You know, that's an important project car that definitely deserves a very special video soon enough. We'll get into that later. And then, of course, Project Spirit, which we already mentioned, the real star of the channel, which again, this is part of the front bumper system that bolts directly into the frame right here. Big honking chunk of metal, isn't it? And then, of course, literally the camera is sitting right next to yet another project car that we're getting it for a song for the channel. But we'll get into that in another video, at another day, at another time, when the time is appropriate. Right now, the time is not now to talk about. And of course, there will be other videos that will be thrown in, even on the other side of the camera, like right there, is another car that's not my project car, but I'm going to be helping get a lot of stuff squared away on as a thank you to the owner, well, the now outgoing owner of this very lovely house. So that's kind of where we're at, guys. That's kind of where we're at. Now, first thing from here that we got to talk about, yes, you guys will get a virtual video tour at some point of the house. Mostly the main parts that you need to be concerned with, obviously here, and then you guys will see that as it develops and as things get moved around and that sort of thing. Obviously, the work area where the biggest part of the channel will be filmed, and once we kind of finish, you know, yeah, we've been here for a few weeks, but you all know how this goes. You're unpacking, when you make a move, you're unpacking for up to anywhere from 6 months up to 5 years after you move into the place. So once we get a little bit more established inside, yes, I'll be glad to show you guys the inside, okay? So, for right now, just know that the Prince Magnum channel is in a brand new location. We're doing well, and the work continues because now I've got a place to actually do some work, which I've got a piece over there I got to touch up, and I got to touch up a couple other pieces. This is going to be an awesome time for those of you who are, you know, subscribed to the channel. You guys get to see the action as it unfolds in front of you. All right, so from this point, I know many of you were asking the question, Prince Magnum, I'd love to help speed up the process with Project Spirit. Okay, this is where, you know, I jokingly oftentimes say, let's pay the bills. So this is kind of that moment right now. First things first, you know, you can become a member of my Patreon. $1 a month. I set it as low as I could, and you know, we worked our asses off trying to figure out the best way to kind of give you something back for that $1. Make it worth your time, okay? And we created the Cinnamon Discord. It's for adults only, so that way if somebody sees something that they think is offensive, they had to pay to get in there to cause problems, okay? Oh, I want y'all to take that in for a moment. That's how, you know, that's how petty I can be. Yeah, you had to pay to go in there and cause problems. But even then, you know, if I recognize the name, you know, I know no matter how much you pay, you're not getting in there. So there's that, okay? That's it right there. If you're paying that $1 a month, we try to give you at least something, okay? Because everything, you know, no one can afford, you know, some of the stuff that's out there. I did what I could, okay? Discord's free, okay? And in that Discord, I write, you know, I do some writing, some fictional writing, and show off my ability, you know, my writing chops. And those of you who are, you know, diehard supporters of the channel can vouch in the comments section below, you know, what you guys have gotten to see from Cinnamon's Discord. You know, please do so. Along with that, we also have the Teespring, you know, store. Teespring, we've got merchandise of all sizes and shape. Some of it's been around for years. Some of it we've added in the last couple of years, okay? And, you know, I do need to spend some time, go in there, and we need to add even more merchandise. But we do have merchandise of all sizes and shape. Some for, you know, you know, glasses, mugs, t-shirts, onesies for the babies, you know, beach towels, yoga pants. We've got quite a bit to choose from Project Spirit to Project Lena, to Cinnamon merch. Heck, we even got a running gag that we had from playing Fortnite called Chickens Are People Too. So, you know, we've got, you know, merchandise of all sizes and shape. So, you know, and I know at some point with me doing the Perfect Dark series, we're probably looking at even adding in, of all things, the kind of the running meme on the channel now, where the guy's fiddling with, you know, from playing Perfect Dark, the guy's fiddling with his gun, and he says, "My gun," you know. So we might add that in at some point. Hard to say. Okay. So we've covered the basis of that, and you know, maybe doing all that isn't your thing, but you want to make a one-time donation. Holler at me. I'll give you my email address, which I think that is still pretty well out there. You can find it easy, and you can donate directly to my PayPal account. And you know, so there is ways that you can help, you know, speed one way or the other. You know, making this video, we're now in mid-September, you know, 2024. By October 2025, I will no longer, you know, I will be long since divorced, and I will be getting married to Princess Starsong, and that'll be a, you know, I don't think I need to worry there. She doesn't drink and she doesn't do drugs, so I don't have to worry about any problems like before. And you know, we've got, you know, she's already given me a beautiful baby daughter that she's, you know, that's a story in itself that definitely will be told. So that, all that being said, you know, like I said, we've got plenty of projects on the table, lots to do, and now we have some place to do them. Thank goodness, okay? So, covered all the bases. Yep, all right, well, that brings us to our usual stopping point. As always, get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is, just do something with yourselves. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, for every last one of you out there, no one out there has told you that they love you today. Prince Mackham does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.
Wrong, you hear me? Wrong. This is wrong me, my brains are.